David here with Figboot on Pens. Today I have for you something special, a limited edition pen from Visconti that I think you'll find interesting. When it comes to pens like these, if you're in the market to make a purchase, a video like this might be helpful in making a buying decision. There's not a lot of reviews out there for pens like these. And if this is a pen that's out of your price range, then it could still be fun to take a look at this cool toy. The pen that we're going to take a look at today is the limited edition Visconti Torpedo. What I'm going to do is go over the parts and features of the Torpedo, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for, show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to Visconti and their US distributor Coles of London, who have provided this pen on loan so that I can show it to you. Sorry, no giveaway today. The Torpedo arrives in this box. This is a really nice display box. The bottom is actually covered in felt, which is nice. And then the top has actual glass, a little window there where you can see the pen. The lid lifts off, and inside we have the pen. This is the Visconti Torpedo. The Torpedo is a limited edition model launched back in the spring of 2018. It's inspired by the Bolidismo movement, which is an architecture and design movement created by a young group of architects in Florence, Italy, back in the mid-1980s. Some of the key elements of this design movement were lightness and multiplicity and action. The dynamic designs of this movement can look organic and kind of feel like they've been shaped by the wind. And I feel all of those design elements are present in this pen. Appropriately enough, this pen has a torpedo-like shape, but the name also alludes to the torpedo car models very popular in the 1930s. Essentially, the name is meant to represent a design inspired by movement and speed. The pen is made from a unidirectional carbon graphite, and the trim is palladium-plated steel. A lot of times when you see carbon fiber, it is woven. There's a number of fountain pens out there which use woven carbon fiber. With this material being unidirectional, all in one direction, all of the fibers run in a single parallel direction. The benefit of this is that there's no gaps between fibers, and those fibers lay flat. There is no cross-section weave that kind of divides the fiber strength in half with one another. This allows for kind of a more concentrated density that makes the material have 3 times the strength of steel at 1/5 the weight. The Torpedo is rather hefty though, but I would describe it as a good weight. And what I mean by that is that I've experienced some pens which seems to be heavy just for the sake of being heavy, like they're trying to convince you that weight has a direct correlation to quality, which it doesn't. But when you pick up the Torpedo, it's a good weight. Between the heftiness and the overall feel of the carbon fiber and metal on your hand, it very much feels like a quality pen. And I know that's a rather abstract concept to attempt to convey over video, but I hope you understand the point I'm attempting to make here. Let's start by taking a look at the Finial. It's metal and rounded at the end and has 18 grooves. I like that the grooves are lightly filled with black lacquer or paint so you don't see exposed metal. But these grooves are mainly for aesthetics here on the Finial. This transitions to a wide palladium-plated band. On the back of the band is the number of this particular pen. As I mentioned, this is a numbered edition, and this specific pen is number 67 out of 388. And 388 is a common limited edition number for Visconti, which refers back to the year of the company's founding, which was 1988. Then we have the traditional Visconti arched clip. This is the typical version that they have on their higher pens. The clip is hinged and has raised lettering surrounded by black lacquer. The carbon fiber cap angles up slightly, and then we have the cap band. That it is rather large. It's raised off of the cap a bit, and there are angled metal transition pieces on either side to smooth out the step up. On the front of the band, it says Visconti, and I like that the letters are filled with the black lacquer. It really helps the letters pop a bit more. And then the rest of the band is encircled by 21 grooves. There is an angled step down to the barrel, which has a palladium plated steel overlay, which I like. I think it's a real sleek design. The skeleton overlay really flows around the barrel, and in the middle of the barrel is a large double-sided oval ink window. Through the ink window, you can actually see the piston knob inside the pen. The barrel tapers down, and at the end is a metal knob, which is more pointed than the Finial. It has a rounded end and is encircled by 18 grooves. Now, these grooves come in handy for a reason that I'll go over here in just a bit. The cap twists off. Now, it does require 4 full rotations to unscrew the cap, which seems a bit excessive. But once you remove the cap, you are presented with a standard Visconti 23 karat Palladium Dream Touch nib, which is plated in ruthenium. This particular nib is a broad and is decently smooth. I really enjoy it. We'll review it in the writing sample, but I find this broad to provide a very nice writing experience. And then here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is metal and begins with a rounded raised ring. I do find the section to be a bit slick, but since I grip my pens close to the end of the section, the prominent raised portion does an adequate job of holding my grip in a fixed location. At the end of the section are the cap threads. Even though they are metal, I don't find them to be sharp at all. The cap does not post, but you wouldn't want to post this anyways. The cap is rather heavy. It's 37 grams, which is exactly how much as the barrel weighs. So I don't believe I've reviewed any other pen where the cap and the barrel were the very same weight. But that's fine because the carbon fiber has a very cool feel to it. And I don't mind using this pen and holding on to the cap in my other hand and kind of playing around with it. But even though the barrel isn't light, I do find it to be well balanced and very comfortable to use, even for longer writing sessions. At the end of the section, we have another ink window. Now, the Torpedo is a vacuum filler featuring Visconti's double reservoir filling system. I had mentioned the grooves on the piston knob here at the end of the barrel. These come in handy when operating the piston. They help give you a very solid grip. Once unscrewed, you pull out the piston, and you can see the business end of the piston through the large ink window. Once it's been extended, you insert the nib in your favorite bottled ink, and you depress the piston. And as you depress the piston, a vacuum is created behind the piston, and once you've depressed it far enough, you'll hear a little click. This is when the piston hits a wider opening inside the barrel, and that the vacuum seal is broken and ink sucked up inside of the pen. I did say that this was a double reservoir system. When you screw down on the piston, it actually seals off the main chamber of ink from this forward chamber, which has a separate window. When you're writing, the feed pulls from this forward chamber, and when it's been emptied, then you could simply unscrew the knob a bit, and then then ink will fill from the back chamber to the forward chamber, unscrew it back up again, and you're good to go. It's a nice system that functions well. The Visconti Torpedo is a luxury pen, and it comes at a luxury price. The full retail of this pen is just under $2,000 at $19.95. And what that means is that at authorized Visconti retailers, you'll typically find it for about 20% less. So you'll see it just under $1,600. So it's available in a rollerball for about $300 less as well. When it comes to pens in this price range, the question is inevitably, is it worth it? But if you're in the market for a $1,600 pen, then the chances are you have a rather healthy financial situation, so ultimately cost is a bit relative. There were a few areas of this pen where under closer examination with a loupe, I noticed a bit of excessive adhesive spillover. Now, it was very small, and I only noticed it when using significant magnification. While I don't find it to be visible with the naked eye, I do wish it wasn't there at all. For a pen of this price, I'm going to hold it to a higher quality and a higher build standard. But in the end, there were a number of things that I really liked about this pen. I love the look and feel of the carbon fiber. Now, I'm not sure if this would even be possible, but I think it would have been really neat if the section was carbon fiber as well. Now, I don't think I've seen that done before. Now, who knows? There might be a very good reason why you wouldn't want to do that. But in concept, I thought it would have been unique and pretty cool and kind of feel nice. I do like the overlay a lot as well. I thought the large ink windows were integrated into design with creativity. Overall, I feel that this pen has some unique features, and if I was in the market for a pen in this range, then it would definitely be something I would consider. Thanks again. Go out to Visconti and Coles in London for the loan of this very special pen. I've enjoyed taking a closer look at it. So now it's time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Visconti Torpedo. In regard to some other Visconti pens, here it is with a Divina Elegance, and here it is with a Wall Street, and then here it is with a Homo Sapiens. In regard to some non-Visconti pens, here it is with a Classic Pens LB5, a Pelican M1000, and then here it is with a Pilot Custom Urushi. So here we have the Visconti Torpedo. This is a broad 23 karat palladium nib, and the ink that I'm using today is Cross Violet. This is one of my favorite purple inks. This is what the ink looks like. It's a nice, really saturated purple. Here's what it looks like in regard to like the Lamy Dark Lilac, or even something like the Mont Blanc Beetles Psychedelic Purple. But yeah, Cross Violet I think is a really underrated ink. And this is what the bottle looks like. This is what it comes in. I like the bottle as well. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. You can see that this is a broad nib, and it does lay down a generous amount of ink. That you can get a bit of flex out of here, and that the ink flow is very generous here. I do find it to be very smooth. I think some of the Visconti fines are a little bit too pointed and fine for me. I do really like the mediums, but the way that this broad writes makes me think that maybe the next time I get a Visconti, I might try out one of these broad nibs, because it is very smooth. In regard to reverse writing, it's very smooth as well for reverse writing, and lays down a nice medium line. In regard to fast writing, there's no issues whatsoever. So there we go with the Visconti Torpedo. That I really like the look and the feel of this pen. I think it was a unique addition to the marketplace and really adds something different to the Visconti line. And I enjoy the chance to play around with it. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.